Today, I'd like to speak on, if we can just switch to my slide, I'd like to speak on Shining City. Shining City. Anyone know what Shining City is? Who doesn't know what Shining City is? Okay, so there are a few people. Shining City is a term coined by Father Moon, who's a founder of our movement, co-founder of our movement, and it's a name he gave to this city of Las Vegas. I'll share a little bit more about it, but is there anybody here who was born in Las Vegas? Who's Vegas born? You have the license plate. We have one person. All right, let's give a hand to our Vegas born. Okay, we have Kenny over there too. Two originals. It's incredible, right? This room has about maybe 130 people. This building right now, we have about 180 people here and only 2 people. I think it tells us a picture of what Las Vegas is, right? I share this quite a bit often, but just about 120 years ago, about 95%, there was a 95% chance that you died where you were born, right? People didn't really travel so much. There wasn't as much. There weren't planes, commercial planes to fly you around. Traveling the ocean was quite difficult. Ephraim, good to see you. But somehow, in 2026, we have a room where about 99% of people are not from here. Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas. You know, Las Vegas is so interesting because before I came to Vegas, or I knew anything of Vegas, the only thing I knew was it was called Sin City, right? And apparently, I think Mimi told me that it was based on some kind of commercial from a long time ago, and just as there was a commercial that said diamonds are forever, and that became a thing for a marriage, someone somewhere, I wish I could tell you the story, please ask her or our Vegas folks here, especially those who worked at the casinos, they might be able to tell you the real strategy behind calling it Sin City, but it was a marketing tactic overall. But because of that, it didn't just come out of anywhere. The reason why it was called Sin City was because it was grounded on given into the pleasures of people. People didn't come here for the sake of doing good or saving the world. People came here to pleasure themselves in some way, shape, or form. People love gambling. I think this is something that you can't miss when you come to Vegas. I was shocked. I came to Vegas for the first time in 2018. The moment I landed at the airport, I saw a slot machine. I was like, my goodness, they go all out with this identity. I wouldn't be surprised if very soon you have your own Vegas airline and you can place the slots in the airplane. But it's a marker of this city, right? Being able to go out there and make some money. The reality is, for the most part, you're statistically more likely to lose than to gain, right? But somehow, it inspires hope in people. You know, the demographic of people who buy the lottery the most are those who have very little. So in one sense, there's hope there. I just put that picture there just to show at the airports we have it. And then it makes people happy too, right? But actually, this picture is rare because usually when I see people in front of the slot machine, recently I saw a video about apparently in some slot machines you can connect it to your bank account and you can transfer money. So I saw a video where someone transferred $20,000. It's incredible. Please take care if you do gamble. But Vegas is also a place that's very beautiful. What is this place? It's a Hoover Dam, right? Hoover Dam was at the time called a man-made miracle. Very, very powerful. Your father saw it, and the moment he saw it, he said that this place, it's a man-made miracle, and it transformed the wild waters into power that powers this city and beyond. So why don't we transform this wild, chaotic energy of Las Vegas into something beautiful? And so the Hoover Dam, I've been there, it's enormous. And as a result of the Hoover Dam, we have the largest man-made lake in America. That's Lake Mead. But in 2010, Reverend Sun Myung Moon, he made this statement: Sin City can be changed to Shining City. And actually, if you read the full speech, it's a slight play on the word. Right? It was sin, it sounded like sun. His name was Sun Myung Moon. And so he was talking about how Japan was thinking of changing the name of Las Vegas to Sun City and the characters in Japan. But the point he was making was that this could be a place that could illuminate the world in some way, shape, or form. Did you know that from outer space, Las Vegas is the brightest city? It's interesting. If you go to outer space, there's one spot in the bottom of Nevada that's brighter than many other places. The reason is because the Las Vegas Strip is so concentrated with light. And not only that, but I'm sure many times when you're walking around or driving around at night, everyone can see that one beam of light going up from the pyramid, right? It's amazing. So I think there is something there. You could call Las Vegas a shining city. Some people call it the city of lights. The city of lights because there are a lot of lights. Actually, it's a nickname of Las Vegas. And that would be accurate, physically. When Father talked about this city being a shining city, he was talking about something much deeper. In 2011 at the Aria Hotel, I'm assuming that's when maybe it was the vice president there, it says, Las Vegas will soon gain a new reputation as a city of giving, rather than a city of gambling. This is a time of quiet revolution, a time when the long era of sin and suffering will forever end. This is quite a bold statement to make. In this world, when you think logically, if I wanted to make change somewhere, most people will not go to a place that you would consider the hardest place to do, right? Kind of you take baby steps. But for some reason, our two parents loved this city so much that they invested the last 4 years of their life for this very purpose of transforming the heart of it to a city of giving. And the parallel here is, Father has said many times that we have to liberate hell. And this was not the first time he said so. Back in, I believe, the early 1970s, I was talking to Dr. Kim about it, and he shared that in the early 1970s, he said that if Las Vegas cannot be liberated, there is no future for America, and there is no hope for the world. So that brings us back to the fundamental question of the mission of the Messiah. Does the Messiah come just to liberate a few? To save 1 or 2 souls? To save just 144,000? When God created this universe, and since Adam and Eve went out of the Garden of Eden, our Heavenly Parents' hope had been total salvation. That not one soul be left, and that everybody can come and live in this kingdom of heaven. That is the dream, and that is the hope. And the interesting part about it is that, metaphorically speaking, if this city that the world proclaims to be a sin city can be transformed, then there's no other place in this world that can't be. So, when I look at this, I imagine many people may come to, for example, you go to a neighborhood that is a bit desolate. You have people in the neighborhood who perhaps are struggling in life. Perhaps there's poverty that's rampant. There are issues of drug addiction or whatnot. Many people might look at it and have no hope for it. But I believe that's the heart of God. The heart of God is not, and the perspective from God or Jesus is not to see a place that's desolate and think that there's no hope, but find the hope in that place. Can see what's possible in such places. And actually, the greatest of the greatest of times or the experience that people have are usually at their lowest point. Because it is then when many of you may know that a lot of the great evangelists of today went to prison at some point in their lives. And some way, somehow, in that prison cell, reflecting on their life, they were transformed. And the reason why it's impactful is because it's a story of someone who lived a life that perhaps the world would not agree with or find great. But somehow their life was transformed, and it becomes a testament to God. And so when we are here in Las Vegas, I want us to think about that a little bit more. Why did true parents come here? And actually, just a few days ago, in speaking with Dr. Kim, our former senior pastor, I asked them, why did they invest so much here in Vegas? And he told me, frankly, nobody really understands. He said that when, in the last 4 years, there were times when they would go to Lake Tahoe, maybe for a small vacation there for 5 days or sorts. But then the moment they arrive at 4 a.m. in the morning, Father would say, I got a revelation, we have to go to Vegas now. Drop everything and just go. And this is not just one occasion, it happened multiple instances. Whether you're on your way to somewhere, but for some reason God was redirecting him back, even in the dead of dawn, in the morning. And so, Dr. Kim told me he didn't fully understand it, and perhaps no one fully understood it. But God's voice was so clear in Father that he needed to be in this place. And we know of the many times when father and mother prayed and offered devotion. I'll get to it in a second, but I'd like to read this biblical passage from Isaiah 35:1-2. It said, the desert and the parched land will be glad. The wilderness will rejoice and blossom. Water will gush forth in the wilderness and streams in the desert. This is a prophecy that streams will gush forth in the desert. That even in places that are dry, there is hope. I was reading the other day, the Sahara Desert. I think many people, if asked, should we reforest the Sahara Desert? Should we make it green? Many people might say, yes, right? It's like, yeah, it's dry, it's sand, and what are we doing there? There's not much life there. But I saw this theoretical video. It was about, what if we released, 10 million bees in the Sahara Desert, frozen bees? What would happen? And the video described how, well, first of all, bees can't magically make plants, so nothing is going to happen. The whole idea is bees are great pollinators. But there are certain kinds of bees in certain parts of Africa that are good in the desert. But at the end of the video, there was a very important question that was asked. Should we even reforest the Sahara? And apparently, the Sahara provides so much unseen value in the world, and one of which is the winds blow the sand across the Pacific Ocean to the Amazon forest. And in blowing that sand every year, it says 20,000 tons of phosphorus goes onto the soil of the Amazon rainforest, and it is because of that it has enough phosphorus for the soil to be fertile. So there is no Amazon rainforest without the Sahara. It's interesting. And there were a few other pointers there, but I found it so interesting in how God the places that we do not see as much value provides a lot of value. Not only that, but the sand gets blown over the ocean, and certain kinds of minerals is what the phytoplankton in the ocean feeds on. And this phytoplankton is at the bottom of the food chain. If they don't exist, we won't have the survival of the species in the ocean. And because of the the Sahara Desert, I believe it says over 1 million tons or something of it gets blown into the ocean every single year. So that was so interesting. A year and a half ago, I experienced my first full summer in Las Vegas. Oh my goodness. This was 2024 summer. I'd been here for short bursts in the past, but I'd never been here for a whole summer. I remember one afternoon, I was walking to the Chuncheon, and I remember checking my watch. It was 104 degrees. I was like, okay, it was hot. I went there, and then when I came out, for some reason, the heat was so scorching that it stung. I was like, oh, it has to have gone up by a lot. I checked, it's 105. Then I could see the valley of 1 degree. So then I went to my AI assistant and I asked, what would Las Vegas look and feel like if it rained here as often as it rained in Seattle? I was just curious, right? Because some of you may remember about 2 years ago, it rained quite a bit. I think it set a new record for the amount of rain in January. And that was a time when I believe James Oberg was screaming for rain, and then Dr. Kim told him to stop praying for rain because it was raining too much. So I researched what would happen if it rained, because at that time I was feeling maybe it might be better. Maybe I should just pray for rain if the temperature would drop by a little bit. But the answer shocked me. Apparently, if it rained a lot here in Vegas, and I gave it what would a visitor who is visiting after 1 year and after 10 years notice? It says after 1 year, there will be what you will notice immediately as you're driving into Vegas is it's green. You'll see a lot of greenery. But this greenery comes from pollen that has already been scattered over the soil, but doesn't have enough water to be able to germinate. However, those will not last. Apparently because of the caliche layer at the bottom of Vegas. There is a layer of cement right underneath. And as a result of it, things can't grow deep roots. So everything will just be topsoil, and over time you'd have to keep building topsoil as certain plants die and whatnot. It'll do a bit over time. And then it says, but what you will notice immediately is that it'll be extremely humid. So you're going to look at humidity around 80%, 90%-ish. But the temperature would only drop about 10 degrees. So think of 95 degrees with 90% humidity. The heat doesn't change so much because because of the angle of Las Vegas to the sun. So even though it rains a lot, it's not going to change things. It will actually make things much worse. Not only that, but the streets would have cracked because it's not built for that. The sewage system would have been overloaded, but also our homes would have a lot of mold. And then it's so much black mold that homes will not be insured. Because the city is not built for that. The city is built for what it is, a dry land. So when I researched it, it just made me think again about what I hope for. Within nature, things are the way they are because they are the way they are. And they serve a purpose wherever we go, wherever we may be. And even though some days we might pray for rain, perhaps it is the lack of rain that makes this place what it is. Makes it tolerable. In fact, some people love Vegas. I asked Dr. Compton. Dr. Compton said that it's the best place to live. He said that maybe just for 1 or 2 months in the summer, but outside of that, the temperature is the best in the country. Right? Someone who's traveled all around. And I also find that true. One of the beautiful things about Vegas is you don't travel, maybe the most you would travel is 40 minutes anywhere you go. Most things are within 15 to 20 minutes. I lived in New York City, and everywhere I had to go into New Jersey, into Bronx, everything took an hour and a half. So that was a blessing coming here. So in this passage in Isaiah 35:1, it says, water will gush forth in the wilderness and streams in the desert. And this is a prophecy of hope. that good things can come to places that we do not expect. And in John 1:46, Nathanael is speaking to Philip, and he says, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" And Philip answered, "Come and see." Some of you may know, some of you may not know, but Nazareth was considered this backwater, small town. It didn't have much. They were mocked for their thick accent, being uneducated. That was Nazareth. The assumption was the Messiah would come out of Jerusalem. However, the Messiah was from Nazareth, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And so, I share this just to say that a human judgment can go a long way. And many times, God's logic does not follow this. Because sometimes where we do not see hope, God sees hope. Where we judge, God sees the goodness. So just as this world sees this place as perhaps a place that is hedonous, decadent, God sees a place that can transform the world from inside out. And we know the story of Jesus and where Jesus spent his time. One of the things Jesus was accused of in his life was spending time with the sinners. We shared this before, but Jesus was most known for and accused of why is he spending time with the sinners and the tax collectors, right? The last time I shared why they hated tax collectors. I think today, no one exactly likes tax collectors. Uncle Mike is a tax collector. No, he's an accountant. He's not a tax collector. Because back then, the Jewish didn't like Rome, and you had to pay your taxes to Rome, right? That was the whole idea of it. Jesus protected this lady who was accused of adultery. And what did Jesus say when they tried to stone her? Right. He who has not sinned, cast the first stone. Jesus made of his disciples people who seemingly in this world were outcasts. People who were judged, were unliked. And what did he make of them? Greatness. Today we still talk about Peter. Today we still talk about Thomas. We still talk about Simon, Matthew, John. People who the world wouldn't give their mind to at the time. And so, I wouldn't question God's ability to transform something. And when True Parents, Reverend Sun Myung Moon, came to Las Vegas, he spent a lot of the time at Lake Mead, fishing. You can hear a lot of stories about it from Uncle Chris Fiala right there. Actually, he's been going to Lake Mead to fish recently, so you might be able to go fishing while he's still here. But every time he fished in Lake Mead, he would toss it out and just wait patiently. I don't know Lake Mead to be a lake that has a lot of fish. So he would wait. And one time he shared that just as you wait patiently for a fish to latch onto the bait, God is waiting patiently for each soul to come back to him. And this was something Father would do for 12 hours at a time. 12 hours. How many of you have fished in the river or ocean before? A few people. I did it twice, and oh goodness. I got a little bit seasick in the beginning. You know, I was very confident that I could do this thing. Right? Someone in the past had told me, the gentleman had told me, you know, I can tell if someone can get seasick or not. And then the person looked at me and says, I think you'll be fine. Oh. So I took Dramamine and whatnot. But there's something more than just being on the boat, right? There's something a little bit, it's obviously very humid. You're catching fish and everything is a little bit gross. You know, the bathroom situation is not the best. There's something about it, but so I'm so amazed every time I hear about the conditions that Father would lay out on the ocean. For 12 hours, and it's not 12 hours of me when I was maybe 22 years old on the ocean. This is 12 hours of someone who was 91 years old. 91 years old. So we understand clearly that true parents' time here was to set conditions for the world. And they laid a tremendous foundation. Actually, that home there, many of you may know it as Cheonhwa-gun or Cheonsimwon. In one of the speeches, he mentioned that this home will become renowned in the whole world someday, right? Now it's a sacred place where we go, we study, we rejuvenate our own spirits. We go there to pray. It's beautiful. But also, true parents established this building. This place was called the Peace Palace originally, and now it was called the International Peace Education Center. Mother named it that. And now we call it Hanhwa-gun, right? This is a big deal. It's such a big deal that actually was on the Las Vegas Sun when it came out in 2015. And they talked about it because it's a building of marvel. And the whole idea behind the International Peace Education Center is that every single year, 42 million people come here to Las Vegas this is the tourists, not locals, to travel through Las Vegas for the purpose of engaging in some kind of pleasurable activity. Maybe they really love to watch some kind of show. Maybe there's a convention that's happening. Or maybe they really like to gamble, and their state it's illegal there, right? But true parents are very clear that this building was to signify the hope of what this city could be. That this place could become a space where, as people come here to satiate whatever hedonistic pleasure they may have, that people would come here and be educated. It could be a place that could bring hope to the world. A place that could teach people about God's heart. That's the mind, the heart behind where we're sitting at today. It really is a blessing that we can even be here. Right, let's give a hand to our Heavenly Parent and true parents for just making this space. And when it was founded, I believe that's when Dr. Kamta's mission changed, right? He was here giving lectures for years. It says even times when there was only one person, he would give a lecture. 7-day workshops at the time. That was the heart behind it. A place where we can invite all kinds of people to come, to grow, to study, to pray. A peace palace for the world. And I'd like to acknowledge some of the works that has been done locally. One thing that some of our local members, so New Hope Foundation, Mr. Fujita and Eriko-san and a few others who are here, they do every single week inspires me. Because I know that the vision of true parents was a vision of transformation, a vision of making something out of what humans would call nothing, was a vision of transforming this place, this city, into something that's beautiful. And those were the foundation. The fruit of it can come forth when we step forth and make a difference. And so I'd like to acknowledge some of the work. Over the past year, New Foundation has been working with another organization called Pick It Up Las Vegas. And every Saturday morning, they'd go around picking up trash. I joined a few weeks ago, and in just an hour and a half, we were able to fill up about 55 bags of trash in one small location. I believe this is one of the entrances to the underground living area for people here. In just an hour and 30 minutes, we were able to make some kind of a difference. Also, every Friday, they've been doing service projects. It started off with giving hygiene products to the homeless and cleaning the streets of North Las Vegas. And we worked with an organization named Restoration Recovery for 1 year, and after 1 year, they gave Eriko-san the keys, right? And says you can use this place for whatever service project you'd like to do, because you can't legally serve food if your facility is not licensed to. Your organization isn't. And so they started recently giving out onigiri on Fridays, making rice balls, right? And they brought it together. Look, Rodolfo has been going. I saw a picture of you there. It's onigiri. Why onigiri? Onigiri is tasty. But I come to find out that apparently, in between all the busy schedules of father and mother, actually, father would only eat rice balls in between. If you read some of the speeches of his kind of last days, that's what he ate. And so I find it quite significant. Whether they knew it or not, I don't know. But they're serving onigiri. Whether you want to eat onigiri or help out, you can go there Friday mornings. Cleaning up the streets, giving hygiene products to the homeless. And recently, some of our local families just joined, and it becomes a space to invite people to make a difference. Some way, somehow, somewhere. It's actually a very tangible way that you can see a difference that you're making. And the reality is, when I used to go to clean the streets of North Las Vegas with New Hope Foundation, if a place wasn't cleaned 1 week, you might think that someone else might come up and pick it up. No, it just compiles. And in certain places, no one ever cleans it up. No one ever picks it up. And so I found it quite meaningful. There were two people I was with. This was about six or 7 months ago who had invited to come over, and then while picking up trash, all of them said they just felt good afterwards. After making some kind of difference somewhere. So I implore each and every one of us here, at least once a month, let's do some community service work. Let's make a difference somewhere. Wherever it may be, we do have Giving Friday and Pick It Up Las Vegas on Fridays and Saturday mornings, and so I'm suggesting around the third week of the month, in one of those 2 days, let's do something. Let's do something. Maybe wear a Shining City shirt or whatever it is, and let's make a difference. But also, this was Thanksgiving. We gave out hot chocolate and whatnot to the unhoused at that time. But also in Las Vegas, True Parents founded an organization called FEEF, the Family Education Empowerment Foundation. And the heart behind it is to teach character education, to teach true love, pure love, to people of Las Vegas, to teach abstinence. What does it truly mean to live as a child of God? What does it truly mean to live a pure life? And what impact can it have in your life as you get older? To make known to the people in this city the fruit of purity. So for the past 13, I believe 14 years this year, Aunt Mimi and Heidi and Uncle Diodone had been working in this foundation to educate. I was able to attend one of their programs about 4 months ago. And then you have just teenagers, right? Most of them are high schoolers, gathered with their parents because their parents want to teach them to uphold family values. It was quite beautiful. This is a program that they go to schools with to be able to educate. And they've done this for over 14 years. So can we give a hand to our FEEF, Family Education Empowerment Foundation? That's Mimi Morse there and Heidi Seda. And of course, let's give a hand to our New Hope Foundation as well for the work that they've been doing. New Hope, you have Fujita-san, Eriko-san. And there's so much more. True Parent established in Las Vegas the only Oriental medicine school. Eastern medicine, right? And we have our president here. Let's welcome, let's give a hand and recognize John Park. It's kind of crazy to think about it. When you go to Las Vegas, there are many Oriental medicine schools, but in Nevada, this is the only Oriental medicine school as well. And so, there was something that True Parents saw at the time. There was something that they envisioned. There was something that they may have seen that we never saw. But we are the ones to realize and fulfill it all. Mother, when she came here 2023, he shared this. The way to save America and the world is for the pure waters of America to awaken. Pure water must not remain stagnant. In order to remain pure, it must continue to flow. And she said, every time I think of you, my heart is filled with joy and hope, almost to the point of tears. When Mother thinks about us, her eyes are filled with hope. Two parents came here and they laid a foundation, an incredible, substantial foundation. They also laid a foundation of tears, a foundation of conditions, a foundation that says that we can make something out of this place, a foundation to transform this city into a city of hope, a city that this world could perhaps call a holy city, a city that could be shining. And there's one story about one of our members playing pool with Father. They kept playing and playing, and the member kept losing. The member kept losing to Father, and then Father looked at him and said, someday better. Someday he could be better. Someday he would become better. Someday. Someday. Someday means perhaps not today, but sometime in the near or distant future. This world can become better. And the way it will become better is by us putting in the work to do so. If the person never practiced pool, he would never get better. If we don't continue the foundation of our true parents in Las Vegas, this place will never get better. So let's carry on that mantle. That mantle, it's the final frontier that true parents laid here. Where someone spends the last years of their life is so precious. It truly means that it matters. And we are here, hopefully, able to fan those flames. The flame of hope. The flame that our Heavenly Parent has seen throughout all of humanity. That if we can bring liberation and salvation to this city, if this city can truly shine, not just physically, not just metaphysically, but spiritually into this world, there's hope. If it came out on the newspaper that Las Vegas was leading the charge in transforming the hearts of people, that Las Vegas was bringing hope, was bringing people closer to God, how will that stun the world? That the once seen and labeled Sin City is a place of hope, a place of holiness, a place of love. It'll be front page news, I guarantee you. The world won't but be able to talk about it and rethink again. That in the den of the devil, God is still there. And that all can be saved. So let's dream again and continue to fan the flames to turn this city into a shining city. Thank you.